joined by Brown head coach Lars Tiffany, student athletes Dylan Malloy, Jack Kelly with Valley Tills. First, we'll have a brief statement from the coach, followed by questions for the student athletes, then we'll let the guys go, and then we'll have a session of questions for the coach. So to start off, Coach, brief statement.
This is a large room. This is a little different than a normal press conference, so thank you for all being here and sorry for making you wait. Part of the delay was there was some tears in the locker room, certainly some smiles, cherishing this team. Bottom line, we just didn't want this thing to ever end, and we knew it had to end at some point here this weekend. But we've had so much fun playing, and how much fun was that today? That was what a ride that was, and two really good teams going toe to toe. You know, they jump out to the 4-1 lead, we come swinging back to the next four, and then from there it was back and forth, back and forth. You know, Maryland did a phenomenal job not letting us get underneath their skin. We're really good at making teams uncomfortable. And while we may have made Maryland a little uncomfortable here and there, they kept their poise, and then they built that lead. And so I give a lot of tribute to John Tillman and his staff and his men. But this group of men that we coach here at Brown University, we talk about it all the time. It's forget the scoreboard, next play. And that's a nice thing to say as a coach, and it's a it sounds good, but they got to believe it. And these men, the men of Brown Lacrosse, absolutely believe it. Next play, all right, here we go. But last week, no Dylan Malloy. All right, next man up. Okay, trust the system. You know, that comes with it. There's a confidence of our men that we can lose one of the best players in the country and still make plays and get a win over Navy. And to come out here today and play at such a high level, though number 4 isn't at full strength. I love this team, and I use that word not haphazardly. The group, the effort, the commitment. You know, everyone works hard, but there's something different about this team, the emotional side of things. I want to also make note of Dylan's injury. He is one of the toughest men to ever be put a lacrosse helmet on, to play this game with a broken foot, a Jones fracture, the 5th metatarsal, is phenomenally heroic. I believe there has never been a stronger effort put out there by an athlete and the training staff. Beth Conroy and our strength coach Mike Pimentel, endless hours, endless. Dylan was in the training room 8 hours a day. We were delivering Chipotle to him, you know, so he didn't have to leave. And he just did everything asked of him. He was in the pool here in Philadelphia at the hotel, just trying to get the flexibility, to keep the swelling down, just icing constantly around the clock. And it was just an amazing effort by him and our training staff and Dr. Owens, who flew down from Providence to provide the lidocaine, to provide a shot to reduce the pain so Dylan could do what he could do out there. The man to my left, Jack Kelly, obviously the first half we were giving up too good of shots, too good of looks, and wow, what a freaking second, what a great second half Jack Kelly stepped up and did. When the Maryland team was starting to assert their will, starting to gain confidence. Okay, this Brown team tries to double picks. We're aggressive. We're trying to chop people. And they endured it. And that's why I mentioned that earlier, that I give them credit for not letting us get too deep underneath their skin. But there was Jack Kelly keeping the score close enough, and allow us to make that really heartwarming and most proud moment to come back from those 4 down and just keep believing. Next play, don't worry about the scoreboard, next play. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. At this point, we're going to open it up to some questions for the players. Coach, I'll have you slide your microphone over just a second there. We'll go down in front first.
Donaldson, Providence Journal. Dylan, if you could, 2 questions. First of all, how do you feel physically now? And how do you feel emotionally now?
Physically, pretty beat up. I mean, my foot's killing me, but I needed to be out there after last weekend. Being on the sideline was probably the hardest thing ever, and I just couldn't do that again. So whatever the risks were, I had to take it. So I just need to be out there with my team once more. I'm happy I did it for sure. We haven't gotten an X-ray just yet, making sure there's no displacement of the bone or anything like that. Hoping that turns out well, but I mean, happy I did it, and I was proud to be out there.
Yeah, second row there.
For all 3 of you, obviously, Coach said that you didn't want the ride to end. What were the emotions like after that goal went in? You see Maryland celebrating, you're walking off the field, for the last time your season's over. What were your emotions like?
it's definitely a tough pill to swallow. We fought back the whole game. They went up 4, we came back. They went up 3, we came back. I mean, for me personally, I can't speak for the other guys, but I was proud. I was upset. I was drained. I mean, it was just an up and down. It was a great game. It was a great game of lacrosse. It was great for the fans to watch. It was fun playing. But yeah, it was definitely really tough to watch all those guys run right by the crease and dog pile number 2. It was tough to watch. Hats off to those guys. It was really fun.
This question's for Bailey. Can you talk about your no-look backhand goal you had in the second quarter?
Yeah, the guy who was playing against me did a really good job of taking away my right hand, and I took a shot that's not normally encouraged by our coaching staff, but it went in, and it was it was pretty lucky, but I was stoked it fell.
Get a mic to you. Hold on. Take one on the back first. Didn't see it. Go for it.
For Dylan, but also for Jack and Bailey. First off, congrats on an amazing season. Can you just talk about the system that Coach Tiffany, or the culture, or the type of practice and development plan that he's put in place for you guys to get better as players and to develop over the course of your careers, which you clearly have?
I mean, we have some of the smartest coaches on our staff, and they do a great job of designing practice, for it to be not killer, but at the same time get us better. Always gonna have fun. Definitely, they make the drills for us to have a blast. I'm always out there having a great time. 54 Chaser is teaching us our transition offense, but we're hooting and hollering and just having a great time on the attack end, and I suck a little for the middies running up and down, but everything they do has a purpose, but yeah, they mix in a little fun for us, and I mean, it's just a great way to be out there every day. Yes.
Dylan, when you woke up this morning, did you know you were going to be able to play, or was it really a game time decision for you today?
I mean, me personally, I was going regardless, but I mean, it's a broken bone. It couldn't feel much better than it was feeling in the last couple of days. But I mean, the swelling was definitely down from last week. Definitely needed 2 weeks for it to start getting a little better. But I mean, I was going to be out there regardless. I didn't know if the coaches were going to be happy about that because I didn't know how much I'd be able to move. But I mean, for myself, I needed to be out there to be with everyone.
This is for Jack and Bailey. First of all, for all you 4 guys, congrats on a great season. It was a fantastic ride for Jack and Bailey. What did it mean for Dylan to come out emotionally, for the team, for Dylan to come out and play like he did today, give it his all?
Jack, you want to take that first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, we're a team that's led by seniors, but this kid doesn't know it. Everyone looks to him for leadership too. It's just an incredible moment when Four says he's going, and everybody looks up to this kid. Look at him. He's just a tough kid, and I think it really showed how tough he is in the way that he played with his foot injury. Now, he wasn't just standing there; he was going after guys. It was just incredible to watch. I think that he made our team proud, our school proud, and our league proud. A lot of people look at the Ivy League and think it's a bunch of softies, but I mean, you look at Dylan Malloy, like battling through a broken foot, guys like Michael Quinn playing on a torn ACL. I think he really proved that he's a tough guy, and this is a tough league.
Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who has to play in place of Dylan, so having him out there is awesome for me. I know I had a lot of success today just because, Maryland doesn't want to take that step away from him, and so it kind of opens up everything for everyone else. So even if he's not 100%, he's definitely an asset on the field. And yeah, I think Jack hit it on the head. He's one of the toughest kids, out there in the game, and I personally think he's the best player. So yeah, it was great having him out there and sharing that last game with him. It's been fun, man.
Stan Charles, PressBoxOnline.com. My question's for Dylan and Bailey. What did it mean, the third quarter goaltending of Jack? How much did that fuel the comeback and the belief that you could still win that game? That was some of the most remarkable goaltending I've ever seen.
Dylan, you want to lead off?
I mean, we always rally behind Jack. I mean, he's usually making the first stop, depending on what it is. beginning of the game or end of the game, whatever it is, we're just always rallying behind him and just going off of whatever he's doing, and that's great for us. I mean, that's why we have so much success on the offensive end, and I mean, it had us going crazy because, I mean, there was a couple unreal stops, and I don't know how he even does it, but I mean, it was awesome, and we definitely just rallied behind him after that.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys watch us all year, Jack does that almost every game at some point, so it's nothing new for us, but it's obviously an incredible guy to have in the net. It definitely takes some air out of the other team when he does stuff like that and just robs guys of goals on the crease, and it gives us just another opportunity to attack the net and try to capitalize on that. So it's huge. I mean, he does it all the time, and it's part of the reason we're so good.
We'll have one more question.
Bailey, this one's for you. Talk about the evolution of your game from the fields at Kent Denver through your senior year here at Brown, and how that's evolved and what it means for Colorado lacrosse and where that state is in its lacrosse progression.
It's been a really cool ride for me personally. Coming from Kent, I had to fly out to the East Coast to try to get recruited, and luckily Lars kind of took me in and allowed me to come play here at Brown. I think through my 4 years here, I've been a part of just the game changing in general. I think the way we play, the fast tempo, the high scoring offense is just a totally new thing, and it's been really cool, to be a part of that. I think with Denver winning last year, the national championship, it definitely is great for the game growing out west, and there's some really talented kids out there that want to make their mark and be able to do this. I personally flew out to Philly when I was in middle school and came and watched the Final Four, so it was really, really cool for me to finally get to play on the stage with my brothers and the coach that I love.
Thank you, guys. We're going to send the student athletes back now, and we'll open it up to some questions for Coach. At this point, I'll grab some questions for Coach. Yeah, right here, second row.
Coach Tiffany, we talked on Thursday at the Franklin Institute about the 1-2 punch of Maryland, the literal 1-2 punch with Rambo and Heacock. What challenges did they present for you today?
Sure. First, let me just talk about these three men. Those three men are outstanding men, representatives of Brown University, but I got a team of them, and I couldn't be more proud of it. Just the way they speak, and they talk about each other, and the humble, modest, yet they're phenomenal lacrosse players, and talking to them, you wouldn't know it. You just have to watch them. And so I feel like a very proud father. The 1-2 punch, we knew that we were going to struggle with that. We have one really talented cover defenseman, JJ Encyclio, number 24. We just really struggle with a team that has two top attackmen who can push and create from behind the goal. So we did a number of different things today. And Alec Tullett is a really good cover guy, but we asked so much of Alec, number 25, taking just about every face-off wing, flying up and down in transition, and then also to be able to go back in a hole and cover one of the best attackmen in the country. So we tried to rotate around, we put different people. It was a real challenge. So how we tried to counter it was to double picks any chance we could. It matches the philosophy. See, a little bit, 2015 we played fast on offense, first time. Growing pains, learning the system, having a lot of fun. And in the off season, we said, we should play even faster. But even more so, our defense should, be similar to our offense. They should match the philosophy. Let's not let teams possess the ball. Let's not sit back in the zone. And so the way we play defense this year is what you saw today. Anytime there's a pick on ball, let's double it. Let's get out there and extend pressure. Let's 10-man. Maryland made us pay. We've been scored on maybe one other time this year. That's okay. Next play. So for us to guard 1-2 wasn't to sort of sit down like Maryland's really good cover defenseman and try to hold ground. We were like, nope, we got to slide, we got to double. And unfortunately, those 1 and 2 are really good, and they made us pay, especially on an overtime goal.
Lars, 24 turnovers today. I know you guys do like to keep that discomfort going. Was some of that a function of Maryland, like you said, keeping its poise, and was it maybe some of it you guys maybe not being as completely glued together as you normally would be on offense in the face of a defense like that?
Right. I felt like most of our turnovers were in the middle of the field. I'm sure there were some others, but the it was a stretch there at the end of the second quarter through much of the third quarter. We just couldn't, sort of make that next pass and complete it. Certainly those were on us, and they're under our turnover category for a reason, but I think that it's the athleticism of Maryland and playing at this level. We saw some good athletes creating pressure. The two that got us late in the game, that fortunately we were able to tie it after, but having two failed clears at the end. One was a referee called the interference, so that wasn't a turnover we made, with our sticks, but another one where we tried to hit 44 over the shoulder, Santangelo. So it's I've had a lot of coaches call me, ask about the system, and the first thing I say, is, can you stomach turnovers? And if you can, let's just stop the phone conversation. I'll hang up right now. And you have to be able to, stomach these. And it's interesting. I said all week, and it almost matches up perfectly here. I was looking at the turnovers. I said, why I think Maryland is such a good team is they can get to just as many goals scored with half the turnovers that we need. We had apparently we had the best offense in the country if you talk about goals for, but we needed to throw some forced passes. We needed to take some chances, so we had a lot more turnovers, and that's a bit of a function of what we were today. So yes, we didn't talk about turnovers much, and we just got to play the next play.
Excuse me, Lars, your thoughts on Dylan playing as much as he did? I think they might play some. I was amazed he played as much as he did. What did that take, and were even you surprised he could play that much and that effectively?
Yeah, I think it was sort of in between what we expected. It was sort of like, okay, is he going to be really barely to move? Will he be barely able to move? Or is it all of a sudden he's going to be almost the same Dylan that was scoring 60 goals and distributing the ball and really running our offense? It was sort of in between. And as a coaching staff, so he was in that gray area of, do we keep him out there? And at one point we talked to him in the third quarter and said, Dylan, it just doesn't seem like it's working. And he said, Coach, you can't take me out. Give me one more chance. And so we gave him another chance. He made a decent play. Then he came back in the fourth quarter and scored a big goal. And that's an emotional goal, obviously, because we see how much he's persevering through pain and how much he's sacrificing to be out there. But yeah, Jim, to really answer your question, we were, it's like, okay, we got to kind of gauge this and see this, because Bailey Tills is playing really well right now. He played well against Navy, had a good game here. It was touch and go for there, but in the end, Dylan convinced us to keep him in there. And as Bailey Tills mentioned, having Dylan in the game allowed Bailey to get a different matchup and to know that he could come around, most likely not seeing a slide. And Bailey took advantage of that.
Take one last question in the back here.
Coach, I know going into the season you knew this was a really good group, but was there a point in the season where you kind of realized this was an extremely special group that could do something like this?
One point, I think it's to me it was kind of like a tidal wave growing. We'd seen it last year. We knew we had a lot of men coming back this year for 2016. Phenomenal goalie in Jack Kelly, sort of rising from nowhere. Face-off man Will Garral. Turned down a Division III offer, and then we looked for someone else, and we didn't get that guy, and then we got Will Garral. And then looking at what we had in the long stick midfield position, I think, it's funny, I was talking to Eric Feketa, the Quinnipiac coach, a couple of weeks ago, and he said, we just felt like we were the first one to, get killed by the serial killer. We were just the first victim, so nobody knew, and I probably shouldn't laugh for using this term like that, but it was, he made me laugh. I think, if that first game we saw, like, wow, and then obviously Quinnipiac went on to make the NCAA tournament. So it's just, it was fun in the off season after the 15th season, going 12-5 and playing fast, to have the realization, like, wow, we should play even faster next year. And the smiles that went on our faces, and when we told the men when they came back, like, yeah, all right, let's do this. And playing the game the way it's supposed to be played, in our opinion. Obviously, people differ. There's a lot of really good lacrosse coaches out there in the country who play it a different way than we do, and they're probably smarter lacrosse coaches than me. But the way we think it should be played, the way it was played when I grew up in Lafayette, New York, in the shadows of the dome, watching the teams of Syracuse in the '80s, it was a nice goal to play with. and ended up playing for Dom Starja and Pete Lasagna at Brown University. You look at the scores back in the teams that we played on in the late 80s. We were winning games 21-16 and losing games 21-18. We wanted to play fast. So this is the way the game that we believe it should be played, and fortunately we have the great men. I coach great men, great talented men, and as you saw, well-spoken representatives, incredible people, and so this is the style that's going to define Brown Lacrosse and Brown University.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for everyone. Thank you for all the attention, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.